A quick warning that there are some swear words in this episode. So if you're about to listen to this with a kid, you might want to save it for later. I'm Rachel Bell, and this is Your Last Meal, the show where celebrities share stories about the foods they love most, and we dig into the history, culture, or science of those meals with experts from around the world. Today on the program, Jonathan Van Ness and Tan France, two of the stars of Queer Eye, a reality show that snagged 11 Emmy Awards and 37 nominations. And the new season, Season 9, set in Vegas, dropped on Netflix last week. Queer Eye is a makeover show, but it goes much deeper than just new haircuts and redecorated homes. The Fab Five help folks who are lacking self-confidence, who lost a spouse, who spend all their time caring for others and don't take the time to care for themselves. I have seen every episode, and almost every episode makes me cry. Tan is the show's fashion expert, Jonathan is the beauty expert, and I am the interview expert who asks hard-hitting questions like this. I was curious if either of you have ever eaten pet food, because I remember that being a thing as a kid. I wanted to eat one of those milk bones.
Rachel, that's not the craziest shit I've ever heard. No. Never, ever thought to eat pet food.
In 2021, Queer Eye's food expert, Anthony Porowski, was a guest on Your Last Meal. He will come up in conversation later in the episode, just so you know which Anthony we're talking about. And the whole gang is touring a show in February called Queer Eye, the Fab Five Live. So you're going to want to get tickets to that. But right now, let's duck into my conversation with Jonathan Van Ness and Tan France.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, how are you? Sorry,
I'm so good.
And Rachel, where are you?
I'm in Seattle.
Oh, lovely. God,
Yeah.
it's early for you.
Well, it's 8 a.m.
I mean, I have been up since 5.
Yeah.
8 is nice, but yeah, gosh, it does seem quite early.
What I do for you people, you know, you
I
should
know.
be happy that I'm here with you right now.
Hey, Jackie.
Hi, Tanny.
Hi.
Hi, baby. Jackie.
Oh. Well, what are you doing back in the closet? That's counterintuitive.
It's the weirdest place for me to do my podcast from, but there's construction on our building, and it's the quietest, best place.
Actually, isn't it good to do it in the closet because the clothes help with the echo situation?
Yeah, and it's just
Am I
like
wrong?
little, so it's like less sound bouncing, but it's just an ironic place for someone like me to record their podcast.
That was the dumb joke that I was making, the
Yeah.
dad joke, yeah. Tan grew up in England, the youngest son of Muslim Pakistani immigrant parents. His career as a fashion designer brought him to New York, and eventually he moved to Utah to live with his now husband. The land of casseroles and Jell-O. What was your opinion of the food in Utah then and now?
Okay, to be fair, I've never had Jell-O.
Still,
I don't. Yeah, because well, I've
Tan,
had.
I don't believe that.
No, not
I'm
American,
sorry.
not
No,
Utah
I don't.
Jell-O.
You have had Jell-O, Tanny.
No,
you
I
had
know
some
what
jelly.
I know what Jell-O is. Like I've had the fruit one, but I'm talking about Utah Jell-O because Utah Jell-O is different from regular people Jell-O. Utah Jell-O has savory stuff in it too.
you mean the Jell-O casseroles where things are suspended and floating in it, like
Yeah.
nuggets of cream cheese and like
Exactly,
Baby shoes.
mayonnaise often. Yeah, Utah Jell-O is different from regular Jell-O, Jackie. I've had like a Jell-O cup, but not Utah Jell-O.
I only have saw the types with the banana in it. I
Oh
didn't
my-
know there was other stuff in the Utah
at
Jell-O,
some point,
Tan.
Jackie, I need us to experience this Jell-O together because it looks repulsive.
mhm.
So I think the food when I first got here 16 years ago was just fine. However, I think our food offerings now are great because we've got a lot of international food. And that's the case with England. England food sucks, but our international food in England is incredible. And that's really how I feel about Salt Lake. Our local, like Utah food is bonkers, but I think the Indian food's great, Italian food's great, Chinese food, Japanese, like we've got really good international food, in my opinion.
And you were introduced to funeral potatoes.
Yes, I still don't, I've never had them, but I know what they are.
What are they?
It's a shredded potato, I think, or layered. It kind of is like a gratin, but I think it's a shredded potato with cheese and butter. It sounds gorgeous. Carby, fatty,
Yes.
sexy.
Yes.
Gorge.
whoever came up with the name for funeral potatoes wanted to make it very clear. This potato casserole is served after funerals, but it also pops up on less somber potluck tables. The dish was created by Mormons in Utah, and since most of the ingredients are inexpensive and come in cans, boxes, or bags commonly stocked in freezers and pantries, big batches of this creamy, cheesy casserole can be whipped up at a moment's notice. Funeral potatoes usually starts with frozen hash browns. There's a creamy sauce that includes cream of chicken soup, sour cream, and shredded cheddar cheese, and it's topped with crunchy cornflakes or smashed potato chips. As for Jell-O,
Jell-O seems to be more popular in Utah, Salt Lake City, than any other area.
Lynn Belushio was the director of the Jell-O Gallery Museum in Leroy, New York for 25 years, until she retired last year. I did this interview with Lynn about Jell-O several years ago for my episode with Jeopardy host Ken Jennings.
It's tied in with the fact that it has a great shelf life. A box of Jell-O will sit on the shelf for a couple of years, and part of the tradition in the Church of the Latter-day Saints is to have food set aside, for a couple of years. And when I was out in Salt Lake City for the Salt Lake City Olympics, I had a chance to talk with the Lieutenant Governor of Utah, Olene Walker. So I said to her, I said, how come, you guys eat so much Jell-O? And she said, because we have large families and it's relatively inexpensive. If you're from the Midwest, most families have Jell-O food traditions, and they will share those. It's so funny when people come into the museum and they kind of whisper and say, oh, I really like Jell-O, or I use my grandmother's recipe, but they kind of whisper it to you. We know they're from the East Coast or the West Coast. People from the Midwest find that kind of strange. They just start blurting out all of their favorite family recipes. So it's not just Utah. It may be more American than apple pie.
Did you tell me that they actually designated it the state food?
It was a state snack. The year before the Salt Lake City Olympics, there was a group of students who decided they were going to petition the Utah legislature, and they got enough signatures, and so Jell-O became the official state snack of Utah.
Ken Jennings is Mormon, and he grew up eating both Jell-O and funeral potatoes.
I think Mormons, like maybe many American religious groups, sort of lag behind the culture by a few decades, and you can really see it in the food. It's Jell-O salads, it's cream of mushroom-based casseroles. Utah, they're funeral potatoes.
Do you like that kind of food?
I'm not against it, honestly. Like, funeral potatoes are pretty good.
Yeah.
And that is comfort food to me because I was raised by that kind of a mom from that era. So I grew up eating all kinds of tuna noodle casseroles and whatnot. And so to me, that kind of is the taste of home. My mom makes a Jell-O that has, I'm going to get this wrong, but it's like black cherry Jell-O with cubes of cream cheese, slivered almonds, and like some kind of canned cherry, and then like some Dr. Pepper or something in it, like some kind of soda.
Like mixed in, or she just pours it over the whole thing.
Yeah. It's like, and then lights it on fire as she's plating it. No, it's you put it in the mix so it hardens in with the Jell-O, and it's
that one actually doesn't sound so bad to me.
I eat it every Thanksgiving. To me, it's like the taste of home.
Wow, she still makes it.
She still makes it, but now that I've left the house once or twice, I am aware that that's kind of an odd idea. That's an odd family tradition.
The Your Last Meal episode with Ken is one of my all-time favorites. If you haven't heard it, you can scroll way back into the archives or find a link in the show notes. Or you can listen to it at 30,000 feet. I can't believe I forgot to tell you. Some Your Last Meal episodes are now available on Alaska Airlines in the in-flight entertainment. Ken's episode is one of them, so you can listen to him talk about what Alex Trebek ate for breakfast while you sip your ginger ale. I wanted you to talk about your relationship with the Olive Garden.
Jackie, have you been to the Olive Garden?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a fucking monster.
Maybe every American knows this, but when you go into an Olive Garden, they ask if you're celebrating something before they sit you down. Or maybe it's just a Utah thing, but they're like, are you celebrating anything today? I'm like, no, if I'm celebrating something. That's so bizarre. I like to only get breadsticks and Alfredo sauce. That's the only thing that's decent on the menu as far as I'm concerned. I've tried many things. It's terrible. But they do have the best breadsticks and Alfredo sauce I've ever had in my life. I love it. And that is the place where me and my husband went for our first date.
Yes, tell that
that's
story.
sweet.
I used to be obsessed with Will and Grace, and Will and Grace used to make fun of their friends, Rob and Ellen, who were apparently really boring, and they always wanted to go to the Olive Garden. And Will and Grace never wanted to go because it was the most boring place in the world. And so I was really trying to be single. I said, 2 years I will be single. And then within 6 months, I met this guy called Rob France, and he was like, I really want to take you out. I was like, really don't want to go out with this guy, but this guy's pressuring me a lot. So I was like, okay, we'll do lunch. And so we went for lunch, and I was like, I will let you take me to a place called Olive Garden, because apparently it's the most boring place in the world. And if this guy can entertain me at the Olive Garden, then maybe I can go on another date with him. And shockingly, he did get me wildly entertained, even though we were at the most boring restaurant in the world.
I love that. Before Queer Eye, Jonathan worked as a hairdresser, and his web series, Gay of Thrones, was nominated for an Emmy. He hosts the podcast Getting Curious with Jonathan Van Ness, tours as a comedian, and has a hair care line called JVN Hair. Jonathan, you have a pet food line now that you did with Anthony called Yummers. Tell me what inspired that, and how many pets do you have right now?
If you saw a weird look on my face, I was trying to turn that auto tracking Zoom thing off my laptop. I just got
so
this a week
I know
ago.
it's like going in and out.
I can't turn it off. I can't turn it off, you guys. It's fucking driving me nuts. I do not know what the fuck is going on with this Apple camera. If I go this way, she's over here. If I go this way, it's over here. I don't know what to do. I can't turn it off, you guys.
You did it to be like cinematic. I was
That's
like,
what I
it's like
thought.
It's killing me.
It's very dramatic.
So we have 5 cats and 3 dogs. That is thanks to my untreated ADHD, which we are dealing with in therapy. And now we are, proud parents of our 5 cats and 3 dogs. Would I have adopted 3 dogs under the age of 3 again? I don't know. Like the way that humans
I can answer that. The answer is probably yes.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
I know
actually,
you
well,
too well.
it's just that we don't. It's just because like it's been like it's hard to raise like 3 puppies at the same time. It is a handful. We have so many dog trainers, and I am like the bad mom because I want the dogs to sleep in the bed, which makes them territorial and like crazy. But I want to cuddle with Belton, and so I need to listen to the dog trainer better. I'm the problem child, and I'm why the dogs are naughty.
Tell me all your pets' names.
We have in age order: Larry, Liza Meow Nelly, Matilda, Genevieve, Elton, Bag, Rose, George.
You did it.
Yes. Yes. But yes, Anthony and I started Yummers in 2021. It was a long time ago. And yeah, it's really fun. They're dog treats that you can also use as like toppers on top of food. They're freeze dried, so it's like really good nutrients for them. And it's just like, it's a gorgeous little line.
I was curious if either of you have ever eaten pet food, because I remember that being a thing as a kid. Like, I wanted to eat one of those milk bones. My neighbors had a dog, and I eventually ate it. Like, I feel like eating pet food was like just one of those things growing up.
Rachel, that's one of the craziest shit I've ever heard. No. Never, ever thought to eat pet food.
But I do feel your pain. And actually, Anthony did try our toppers. But then the people who we like made the line with were like, oh, we need you to stop saying that in interviews because it's good for like animals
it's not
fooding,
human
not
grade.
like humans grade eating. So if you could just like settle down on the scarfing down the cheddar cheese toppers, that'd be great.
That does track for Anthony.
He's so curious about like tastes, smells, oral fixation of tasting things. He can't help it. It's cute.
Yeah, it's real cute.
He's been on this show before, so talked a lot about food with him. I'm curious, what have you learned from him over the years? Any cooking tricks? Has he introduced you to any new foods?
Actually, I don't cook a lot of Western food,
Mhm.
and I have learned a lot from Anne when it comes to making Western food. Western food's made really quite differently to Eastern, and so most of the Western stuff I now make is inspired by what Aunt does. Like a meatloaf. I didn't even know what a meatloaf was. I thought that was just so bizarre, and now love.
Sorry, I'm seeing. Yeah,
This camera.
the
I'm
zoom
sorry,
in. I know, you're
guys.
loving
I
it.
actually
don't know
like
what-
it. I think
I
it's
quite
funny.
like it too.
Yeah.
Leave it is really funny.
Oh, it's like,
I feel
fuck
like I'm
me.
watching
This
a
thing is-
movie.
It's killing me, you guys. I am like,
Like the suspense every time it comes in, I'm like, what's gonna happen?
I don't know.
Dum, dum,
After, this has been the bane of my existence for the last week. Every Zoom call, everything I've done is like killing me. This thing.
I think
Apple-
after this interview, you have to do just the Office Space, like take that computer out back and just smash it like the
Get
fax
rid of
machine.
her. Sidebar though, Rachel, we need you have the prettiest curls. We have to send you
Oh,
some air dry
thank
cream
you.
because our air dry cream would be so gorgeous in your curls. Not that your curls need it. That was like selfish of me because I just feel like you'd be a gorgeous billboard for air dry cream because like it's my
Thank
favorite
you.
curly product and we have got to send it over. Alana, will you facilitate? I see you like air nodding, but we got to send you some gorgeous air dry cream
Thank
because it's
you.
gorgeous for your curls.
I've been
I'm sorry
wanting
I
to
freaked
try
out.
it. And a friend yesterday actually told me that she's been using, I don't know which one, but she said that it's completely changed her curls and that she loves it. And I was
It
like,
probably was
okay.
air dry cream.
Yeah.
Air dry cream
Yeah.
is like that thing for the girls. But I have to tell me my fun Antony food thing. My favorite part about being friends with Ant is that if you're like, I'm lonely. I want like, can we go to dinner? Or like if you make food plans
I know
with
what you're gonna
Antony,
say.
he just like takes over and does everything
We'll
for
order
you,
for you.
which I am just like obsessed. Like he makes the reservation. He knows the cute place to go. You literally, and if you try to help, he almost doesn't like that because you won't pick as cute of a place and it's like not even annoying for him because like he just knows. And I love those types of friendships where someone's just like come to this place at this time and then I'm 7 minutes late
Well,
and it's
but
great.
no, also, Jackie, to take it a step further, what was also nice, and I'm positive he does this with you too, he knows our appetite well enough that he will order. I'll just sit there. I don't have to say a word about what we're eating. He will just order it. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to enjoy the food tonight.
Yeah, he does do that. But it's different for me now because of my GLP-1 journey. So he actually the last 2 times that we've been to dinner, he's full over ordered and then I'm like, sorry.
He always over orders.
I don't act like that anymore. On our GLP-1 journey. We don't do that at dinner no more.
What
But
does
it's really fun.
GOP1 stand for?
She's the GLP-1. She started her Zepbound journey. And we're not hiding it, queens. We just got to be honest about when we're on a weight loss drug so that we don't perpetuate unrealistic beauty expectations and standards. I'm talking about it on Getting Curious this week.
So is GOP like the classification of something like Ozempic?
Yes, it's GLP-1s. It's like
GLP.
something.
Oh, very insightful. Yes.
Yeah,
Now I
yes.
feel educated.
I also
About that.
understand it now. I think it stands for goat lips parfait.
No, I wanted to say
One.
like gabapentin, but that's like what cats and people with anxiety take. It's not that.
And we're not eating dog food and we're not taking cat drugs.
We're not.
Mm-mm.
We're not.
Mm-mm. This is one of the easiest interviews I have ever done. They ask each other questions. They're wildly entertaining. I hardly have to do anything. But when we come back, I will do some work and ask JVN and Tan about their perfect last meals. Tan, you said that you learned to cook when you were really young and that your mom made sure to teach her sons and her daughters.
Yeah. My mom was very progressive in our culture. Yeah. From a very young age, I remember being in the kitchen with her. And then from like 7, 8, she really started to teach. Because my elder siblings weren't interested that much in cooking. And my mom was like, you're my final shot at like passing the legacy down. And so she did a really good job of it. And by the time I was in my very early teens, like 13, I would cook our family meals.
Wow. What were some of the first things that you were making?
It was all Indian Pakistani food.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a curry most nights or a biryani. And I
Or a
always
dal.
made I love dal so much. It's still my favorite thing to make. And fresh roti, which is flatbread. And I still make flatbread almost every day I'm home.
If you don't watch Tan's cooking content, you guys are seriously missing out. Best cooking content on TT and IG, just so we know.
Oh,
Best cooking content around. Best voiceover game in the business right here. Tan France. Yes.
Thanks. I will say I post that just for my enjoyment. I think people think I'm trying to do a cookbook. And so every other comment is, we're ready for your cookbook. And I say, I'm ready. I swear I'm not trying to monetize this. It's just the only thing I like to do on social media.
Well, that's a very American thing that happens all the time. I feel is like every hobby must be monetized. People just kind of do that. They're like, sell it, make it, buy it, sell it. Yeah. And you're like, I just want to make dal.
Do you know what the funny thing is? This is going to sound so lame because mom was on Instagram. I just want to make my mom proud. Because I know my sister watched it and then sometimes she'll make the thing that I made and then she'll take it to mom's house. I'm like, just want my mom to be proud.
Oh, that's so sweet. And you very humbly have said that you're the best cook in your family.
Very humble. Do you know what? That's just a known fact in my family. I care. I really care about food. I'm not a love languages kind of person, but if I were to have a love language, it would be food. When I cook for people, it's because I love them.
100%. What is your last meal? Whoever wants to go first. What would your last meal be and the significance behind it?
I did give it thought, but Jackie, you go first. Okay,
I
I'll
don't
go because
know.
Jackie hasn't thought of
No,
it.
No, yeah, you go. You go first, Annie.
Stall.
You take my time to think it through. Okay, Rachel. Obviously, it's the last meal, so I'm going to give you a 3-courser.
I think
Gives you more
Anthony
time to
did like a
escape.
9-course, so you can do whatever you want.
Okay, no, mine's gonna be 3. So I will always start with bread and fries. Just give me the bread assortment that you've got in a nice restaurant. I don't care. Just give me the bread. The full basket. Everyone get your fucking hands off my bread. Oh, and obviously softened butter with salt on top of it. And then I want fries, preferably truffle fries with a bit of parmesan on it. Chill out, everybody. Jackie, stop shaking your head. I want
I
mayonnaise.
don't
with
want
it.
fucking truffle fries for my
Leave me
last
alone.
meal.
I'm ordering for myself. It's my last
I
meal.
know, but
Kill
like
you
got
off,
the
but you
truffles
can
all over the
decide what you
fries,
want.
and now they smell weird.
So that's my amuse-bouche appetizer. And then I want an English roast, like a proper English roast. I don't eat meat anymore, quite honestly. I haven't eaten meat all year. However, for my final meal, I would possibly like a bit of turkey. And then I'd want Yorkshire puddings with English stuffing balls on the inside. I want English gravy. I want really crispy goose fat potatoes, like the crispiest you've ever had. And weirdly enough, I do want Brussels sprouts, but roasted. So that's my main. And then for my dessert, I would like, there's a restaurant in Philly called Little Nona's, and they have my favorite tiramisu. I would want that, or a chocolate cake. That's my meal. Jackie, your turn.
Tan, not to
Oh wait,
quote
Rachel's
Nicki,
got something to say.
not to quote.
Listen, our podcast is with Rachel.
Oh,
Go,
sorry.
Rachel.
No,
freaked
you
out.
go ahead. No, Jonathan, go ahead.
Which I was just gonna say that to quote Nicki Minaj from the VMAs when Miley was hosting,
Yeah.
you had a lot of shit to say about British food in the press in an interview the other day, and now it's your last meal, honey. I just want to say you came for the English food. You said it's slack, it's hideous, we hate it, and now it's your last meal. So I just want to
You are
point out
right.
that you
No,
do
you are
love a
right.
good Sunday roast.
You are so right. But that is the only British meal I'm like, oh no,
What about an English
love that.
breakfast? You don't love an English breakfast?
I do, but the only thing I really like about it is the eggs and the beans and the toast. There's nothing else really that excites me.
I love a black pud.
Yes, I
You
know.
do?
Yeah.
Which is so disgusting to me. I'm sorry. It's blood pudding.
I know I feel
Yeah.
bad for them.
Ugh.
Wait, what was the part where you said British stuffing balls?
Oh, so our stuffing is a little different from yours. Ours is typically sage and onion stuffing, and then the mixture you put into balls, or you round them into balls, and then you pop that into your Yorkshire pudding, and then put gravy on it. And that combination is is literally making my heart blood. Right, it's the most beautiful combination, and it's what I'm gonna have for Thanksgiving.
My dad for Thanksgiving, this is like a John Van Ness classic. It's a big deal. John's festive holiday balls. My dad takes all of the stuffing things, puts it into like a brown paper grocery bag, and then like forms them into balls and then like puts them out of the bag, like onto the tray, like, you know, to bake them. And it's John's festive holiday balls. And it's like a really big deal. And everyone loves them. They're like the size of a baseball, but it's like a baseball of stuffing that you can just
Why
like,
did you put it into a bag?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because he puts like all the breadcrumbs and the celery and the onions and like all the
it's
things like already
In
in
the-
there.
In the
Okay.
bag?
Yeah, in the bag, like mixes it up, and then like you form it into the balls and you bake it, and it really is
Okay.
like such a fun, gorgeous way to eat stuffings.
Did you guys know that you had stuffing balls in common before now?
No, but that's
Re-
why I had to tell the story.
Yeah, I've never heard of these balls.
They're really good. We can send you the recipe if my dad will share it. I feel like he probably will. He's not a gatekeeper of recipes.
Jonathan, have you thought of yours?
I have. Taco Bell double
Oh, I
decker
shouldn't know.
taco with chicken, add sour cream, Mexican pizza.
Is she still on the menu right now? Or
Yes,
is
it is still on the menu. I can
Okay.
confirm. It is on the menu. That would be from Taco Bell. Then I would get a sticky toffee pudding that was the size of Tan's head, just like
Yeah.
a huge
I do love
ball
a
of sticky toffee pudding. Then I would also go to Ruby Tuesdays to get a chocolate tall cake because those were major and I love them very much. Then because Tan was talking about Olive Garden, it made me think about Fazoli's, which in my opinion is the best fast food Italian place in America, if it's still
I've
open.
never even heard of it.
Fazoli's,
Me either.
honey. It was all about Fazoli's. Their Alfredo sauce and garlic butter breadsticks, get out of town. Then to wrap
Jackie, wait, so I'm
everything
going to
up,
interrupt. Is this the thing that still exists as Fazoli's?
I think
or no?
so. Yeah, I think it does. I'll Google it. And then for dessert, I would do well, I already had the strawberry
Second
pudding.
dessert.
Yeah, second dessert. But it's really an extenuation of the meal, so to speak. I would do a Little Caesars hot and ready, and then also a stuffed crust Pizza Hut pizza with the 1-footer chocolate chip cookie from Subway. This is what I want.
I do love that all of yours is basically fast food shit.
Yeah, me too.
Just got junk.
Yeah, well, it's gorgeous, nutritious. I don't think we should really food shame. So we can't be food shaming, Tanny. And I would challenge that because her tacos has lettuce
That's true.
and tomatoes
Yes.
and
Yes.
beans, good for fiber. So
Wow.
I'm thinking the nutritionists are loving it.
Let's do a poll after this.
After the break, JVN and Tan explain why they chose these foods to be their last meals, and all of us express our feelings about Paula Deen. Why this meal? What does this mean to you?
Tanny, you go first.
To me, it's nostalgia, just something that's comforting and familiar and something I've had for almost 40 years. So that's why I think that for your last meal, I'm assuming I've been put to death. So in that last moment, I want to remember what my life was all about.
Yeah.
And so much of the joy surrounds food.
Same.
Jackie.
And also because when the henchmen are going out to get all my fast food, it allows for me to plan my escape so that I can get out and then go get my own foot-long cookie and say, bye, henchmen. Joke's on
Wow.
you because I'm out of here.
Wow.
I didn't know
I
a
ain't going down
foot-long
like that.
cookie existed. I'm learning so much
I
about
didn't know-
shape and geometry.
I didn't
Like
know.
stuffing
It's
can be a
let me
sphere.
tell you
a
something.
cookie can be a foot-long.
Rachel, they
we're
have
gonna
a new
save the
one.
world.
This is not a paid advertisement from Subway. This is just like something that I know from watching Too Much Food TikTok, but they have a new holiday foot-long cookie that's a peppermint. The cookie is dipped in chocolate coated in peppermint chunks.
Oh, Jackie, I made the best cake last night. I've been baking, do a baker day right now over the holidays. I'm going to do that until.
Are you posting
New
this?
Year's.
I haven't seen
Dude.
anything.
No. It's just for myself. And I made
Tan,
the
is your
most
unappointed social media
gorgeous
manager? I could just say that's outrageous. We
Are
want
you
to see
going
the
to
cake
sell
every
it?
day.
Are you going to make a cookbook about the cake? Are you going to post it?
No monetization of this.
What was the
needed
cake?
It was just a really beautifully spiced cake with the most gorgeous cream cheese frosting on the
Oh,
outside.
I
It
love
was
cream
one of the
cheese
best
frosting.
cakes I've ever made. One of the best cakes I've ever had. I had 3 slices and I felt physically sick before bed. And I thought, should I make myself vomit? Because I may be in for a terrible night. But it was worth it.
Sidebar, you guys, it's
Yum.
not a chocolate chip cookie dipped in chocolate. It's actually a double chocolate peppermint footlong cookie. It looks like this.
Whoa.
Yes, lovely, Jackie. Thank you so much.
Okay, I want 2 of them, and then to make it's the bread, and then you make a Subway sandwich, but those 2 foot-long cookies are the bread.
That's disgusting.
But like icing and as the sandwich, like if you had vanilla icing as the sandwich between those 2, or like an ice cream cookie,
Oh.
yum.
And a little piece of turkey.
I don't want the protein there. I'm
Yeah.
keeping it
Rachel,
sweet.
that's the Americanest shit I've ever heard. You're right. That is what you should do.
Oh yeah, in America you can turn anything into bread for a sandwich.
Yeah, I will never forget that Paula Deen episode where she got 2 glazed donuts and made a burger out of it. Oh, it was so disgusting.
Oh my God, before you die, have you ever spoken to her? You need her to say your name. I had her on the show a million years ago, and this is how she said my name. Rachel! I loved it. Everything. She's like,
she would add a bunch of extra vowels in the time.
yes,
She would, yeah.
Rachel. I love it.
Time.
I'm thinking that the glazed donut burger was our
Gorgeous.
first red flag of
Yes.
things, of
Oh, of course.
questionable
I'm
decisions.
sure she had many things before that, Jackie.
I mean, yeah. Wow.
Before I let you go, you have a live show coming up. What can people expect if they come to the live show?
Have you ever heard of
Jackie-
Magic Mike?
Y'all.
It basically starts with the five of us rappelling in from the ceiling. Everyone's shirts are off. I'm kidding. It's not that. It's really just a really fun show. But I don't know where Tan went. Did his
I know he
computer
just
die?
left. I think you upset him with the magic mic thing. He's like,
I
I'm not taking my
did.
shirt
He's like,
off.
I'm not doing that.
He's like,
No,
I
but
spent an hour doing the French tuck. I'm not taking the shirt off.
Tan's back.
He's
Okay,
back. We
Tan.
thought you were mad.
Never.
But it's
okay,
not really
live show.
Magic Mike.
The live show, we can't give too many spoilers. However, it's a version of what we do on the show. We're not doing a makeover, there's no transformation, but we're letting you into the rest of our world, which is hopefully going to make you laugh. It's going to make you cry. We're going to share stories from behind the scenes. We want to really get you ingratiated into Jeremiah's world. We're going to tackle some of the questions from the audience that they've had since watching the show. So it's a moment to finally get to know a little more about us and for us to really understand who you all are who come and see us.
Mhm.
We want to make it as interactive as possible. Obviously, with everything that's gone on over the last month or so, I'm hoping that, well, a few years, I'm hoping that this is a way to bring everyone together, and hopefully it's going to be so positive and uplifting.
And that was Jonathan Van Ness and Tan France's last meal. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. You guys are the best. And have a great live tour. And I can't wait to watch the next season because I'm the biggest fan. When I was in New Zealand at the end of my trip, I was there for like 5 weeks. And as soon as my boyfriend went home, I rented an Airbnb and watched the entire Japan season in one day and just
It's my
laid there
favorite
with
season.
bread and butter in bed and just ate it and watched it. And it was like so comforting. Go see the Fab Five live this February. It is the first time the cast of Queer Eye has done a live stage show together, and I can't imagine it being anything less than hilarious. They have 5 shows planned around the country. You can find a link to the schedule in the show notes. And the new season of Queer Eye, season 9, is out now on Netflix. Make sure and tune in to The Leftovers next Thursday to hear Jonathan and Tan get into a food fight.
And you
something
said
I
that
made-
you cook for people when you love them.
No,
and
I
then
know.
you said that you wouldn't even cook me
No,
anything.
no, however, I provide food for people.
You better
when
make
I
me a
cook.
homemade ass Taco Bell,
No, no.
Tan.
You can find all episodes of The Leftovers in the Your Last Meal feed. If you are subscribed, you will never miss an episode. Your Last Meal is a product of Seattle's Cascade PBS. This episode was produced with Maliha Syed and mixed and mastered by Isaac Kaplan-Woolner. Original theme music by Prom Queen. I created, host, and co-produce Your Last Meal. I also wrote a cookbook that came out last month called Open Sesame, 45 sweet and savory recipes for tahini and all things sesame. It would make a perfect holiday gift, and if you want a signed copy, you can get one from Book Larder or Half Seas in Seattle. I also have a few more events coming up. I'll be doing a cooking demo at Seattle's University District Farmers Market this Saturday, December 21st from 10 to noon. I'm doing a free Zoom cook-along in January. We're going to cook a couple recipes together from Open Sesame. I am teaching an official in-person cooking class, 5 recipes from Open Sesame, at Seattle's Hot Stove Society. That is Chef Tom Douglas's cooking school. That's on January 25th. And finally, I have one more author talk on February 2nd in Mercer Island, Washington. And that is a ticketed event. You can find all the links to these events in the show notes or go to hellorachelbell.com. I'm Rachel Bell, and this is Your Last Meal.
Tan, I was going to ask you one other thing before we left. I can't remember what it was. It was okay. Where do you live, Rachel?
I live in Seattle.
Oh, that we're not going. I'm so upset. We're going on our tour there. I'm so sad.
I know. I wonder if
Maybe
this
you
is-
can film a season here someday. Come visit. We need
need
help
to.
too because everybody here wears gray and black and nobody dresses up for anything. We need your help. Fluff us up.
Tan,
maybe
put in a
that would-
word.
Swan, I know. Let's see what we can do. I have got a lot of power, apparently. Oh,
Thank
it was
you.
lovely to meet you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye,
love.
ladies. Thank you.
So
Bye.
much fun. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Everyone's coming. Everyone's here.